9 out of 10 people who live to 100 share the exact same regret. Not about money they didn't make, relationships that failed, or risks they didn't take. It's something far more devastating, something that quietly steals decades of your life while you're busy living what you think is the right way. I've spent months researching centenarian interviews, and the pattern is undeniable. From Japan to Italy to rural America, these extraordinary people who've witnessed a century of change all wish they'd done one thing differently. Today, I'll reveal what that regret is and give you a 3-step framework to make sure you never have to feel it. Because here's the thing, this regret isn't inevitable. You can start avoiding it right now. When you hit 100, something profound happens to your perspective. The fog of daily distractions lifts, and you see your life with brutal clarity. You realize that all those years you spent worrying about what others thought, all those decisions you made to keep the peace or meet expectations, they weren't really your life at all. Modern society programs us from childhood to delay authentic living. We're taught to follow the script. Get good grades to please parents, choose stable careers to impress others, make safe choices to avoid judgment. We convince ourselves we'll live authentically someday, after we get promoted, after we pay off debt, after the kids grow up, after retirement. But centenarians know something we don't. They've lived through that entire timeline, and they can see the devastating truth. Someday never comes. Research from the Stanford Center on Longevity shows this pattern across every culture they've studied, whether it's a 103-year-old farmer in Iowa or a 105-year-old artist in Tokyo. They describe the same moment of clarity, usually around age 70 or 80. They realize they've been living someone else's version of their life. One centenarian described it perfectly. "I spent 60 years being the person everyone wanted me to be. I was a good employee, a dutiful daughter, a proper wife, but I was never really me. The real me was buried so deep under all those expectations that I forgot she existed." Now, this wake-up call is universal because it represents the moment when time shifts from feeling infinite to precious. When you're 30, you think you have forever to figure things out. When you're 100, you know exactly how fast those decades disappeared. What makes this regret particularly painful is that it intensifies with age rather than fading. Physical regrets often become less important over time. You stop caring about the marathon you didn't run or the language you didn't learn, but the regret of not being yourself grows stronger because you realize how much life you missed while you were busy being someone else. The cost of waiting for someday is measured not just in years, but in the compound effect of inauthentic choices. Every decision made to please others creates a life that feels foreign to your true self. Every dream deferred for someone else's comfort builds a prison of resentment. Every authentic impulse ignored weakens your connection to who you really are. Centenarians describe this as the cruelest irony of long life. They were blessed with extra decades, but they wasted so many of them living as imposters in their own lives. They had the gift of time, but they gave it away to other people's expectations, instead of using it to become fully themselves. This isn't about being selfish or inconsiderate. It's about recognizing that living authentically isn't just your right, it's your responsibility. Because when you suppress your true self to make others comfortable, you rob the world of your unique contribution. So what exactly is this universal regret? When centenarians are asked directly, they use remarkably similar words. "I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Dear Wilhernoon, I spent too many years being who everyone else wanted me to be. I was so busy making everyone else happy that I forgot what made me happy." The regret isn't about specific missed opportunities. It's about the systematic betrayal of their authentic selves over decades. They realize they lived as actors playing roles written by other people. Dutiful children, perfect employees, accommodating spouses, selfless parents, but they never got to play themselves. This shows up most devastatingly in 3 core areas of life. First, career choices. Centenarians describe spending 40 years in jobs that felt like slow suffocation because they chose security over passion, parental approval over personal fulfillment. They became lawyers when they wanted to be teachers, stayed in corporate jobs when they dreamed of starting businesses, climbed ladders that led to lives they didn't recognize. Second, relationships. They stayed in marriages that drained their spirit to avoid disappointing families. They maintained friendships with people who diminished them because confrontation felt impossible. They said yes to social obligations that felt like punishment because saying no seemed selfish. They became chameleons, constantly shifting to match what others needed from them. Third, personal dreams and self-expression. They abandoned hobbies that brought them joy because others found them impractical. They silenced opinions that mattered to them to keep peace. They dressed, spoke, and lived in ways that felt foreign to their true nature because authenticity felt too risky. Here's what living for others looks like in daily decisions. It's choosing the restaurant everyone else prefers, even when you hate the food. It's taking vacations to places that bore you because your family loves them. It's staying late at work, not because the task is urgent, but because leaving on time might seem uncommitted. It's agreeing with political views you don't share to avoid uncomfortable conversations. The crucial distinction centenarians make is between being considerate and losing yourself completely. Being considerate means factoring others' needs into your decisions. Losing yourself means making others' needs the only factor in your decisions. It's the difference between compromise and complete surrender. What makes this regret more painful than missed opportunities or failed attempts is its completeness. When you fail at something you tried, you can find peace in the effort. When you miss an opportunity, you can often find another path. But when you spend decades not being yourself, there's no consolation prize. You can't recover those years of authentic living. You can't go back and be brave when you were scared, honest when you were diplomatic, true when you were accommodating. The fear of disappointing others becomes a form of self-betrayal that compounds over time. Each inauthentic choice makes the next one easier. Each time you silence your true voice, it gets quieter. Each time you choose others' comfort over your own integrity, you lose a piece of yourself that's incredibly difficult to recover. Centenarians describe this as the ultimate irony. In trying so hard not to hurt others, they ended up hurting themselves so profoundly that they barely recognized the person in the mirror. They spent a lifetime avoiding the temporary discomfort of disappointing people, only to face the permanent regret of disappointing themselves. The beautiful truth is that this regret is completely preventable. You don't have to wait until you're 100 to recognize the cost of living for others. You can start reclaiming your authentic life right now with this 3-step framework that centenarians wish they'd known decades earlier. Step 1 is the daily authenticity audit. Every evening, ask yourself 3 questions. Where did I compromise my true self today? What did I say yes to that felt wrong? What did I avoid saying or doing because I was worried about others' reactions? Start noticing the patterns. Maybe you always defer to your partner's movie choices, or you stay silent in meetings when you disagree, or you dress to blend in rather than express yourself. The goal isn't to judge these moments harshly, but to see them clearly. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Most people live so automatically that they don't realize how often they betray their authentic impulses. The audit creates awareness, and awareness creates choice. Step 2 is the courage practice. Start with small acts of self-honesty that build your authenticity muscle. Order the food you actually want at dinner. Share an opinion that matters to you in a safe conversation. Wear something that reflects your personality rather than what's expected. Say no to one commitment that drains your energy. These seem trivial, but they're revolutionary. Each authentic choice builds momentum for bigger ones. Each time you honor your true self in small ways, you strengthen your capacity to do it in larger ways. The courage to be yourself isn't built through one dramatic moment. It's built through countless small acts of integrity. Step 3 is the legacy filter. Before making any significant decision, ask yourself, what would my 100-year-old self advise me to do? This question cuts through the noise of immediate pressures and social expectations. Your centenarian self doesn't care about impressing your boss or avoiding awkward family conversations. They care about whether you lived as yourself. Apply this framework to real situations. Considering a career change, the audit reveals whether your current job aligns with your values. The courage practice starts with small steps toward your desired field. The legacy filter asks what your 100-year-old self would regret more: the risk of change or the certainty of staying stuck. When you start living more authentically, expect pushback. People are comfortable with the version of you they know. They might resist when you stop being endlessly accommodating. Remember that their discomfort with your authenticity is not your responsibility to fix. Your responsibility is to live as yourself. The compound effect of small authentic choices over time is extraordinary. Each genuine decision creates space for the next one. Each moment of self-honesty strengthens your connection to who you really are. Each authentic choice becomes a building block in a life that actually belongs to you. Your authentic life can't wait for permission from others. Every day you delay being yourself is a day your future self will wish they could have back. The centenarians have given us the ultimate gift. They've lived long enough to see the cost of conformity and the price of playing it safe. Start your daily authenticity audit this week. Notice where you're living for others instead of yourself. Take one small step toward courage. Ask what your 100-year-old self would want you to do, because that person is counting on the choices you make today. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more life wisdom from the world's most extraordinary people.